goodwill message from my boss, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Usman Alkali Baba, who is currently on an international assignment and therefore unavoidably absent. My name is Frank Mba. I speak for the Nigerian Police Force. Oftentimes when those of us who are on this side or who are treated or seen as operating from this side of the divide come in contact with the media, particularly the eggheads and the very topmost cadre of the media, sometimes you look like a fish thrown out of water. Members of the media don't even make it easy for us, because oftentimes when we come close to them, they remind us that we are about to be put on the hot seat. So oftentimes public servants approach the media with a lot of trepidation and fear. But every time I have an opportunity to speak before selected members of the media, I always try to do my best in reminding the audience of the fact that the point of convergence between policing and the media is actually more than the point of divergence. As a matter of fact, the only two callings, the only two occupations, the only two professions that you find every time running towards danger, disaster, crisis, conflict destinations, when the rest of the population are running away from those points, are those of us from the law enforcement community and those of you from the fourth estate of the realm. And so if there's a bomb blast today anywhere in Nigeria, as the police and other members of the law enforcement community are dashing down there, the media are also rushing there. Incidentally, every other member of the population will be running away from there. And incidentally, whenever there is a national crisis and everywhere is shut down, the law enforcement, members of the law enforcement community are thrown out to manage the crisis. Members of the media are also thrown out to manage the crisis. And so at the peak of the pandemic, when there was an absolute lockdown, no police station was shut down. And there was no media house that was put under lockdown. The best that happened is that you devise a means for some of your colleagues to work from home, but the media houses remained running, the police stations remained running, the reporters were on the street, the police officers were on the patrol. Today, there is no media house that goes to sleep. In the time past, those of us who are news sources are constantly under pressure because they tell you the newspaper is going to bed. But today, no newspaper goes to bed. You work 2-4-7, we work 2-4-7. So for me, I think we must find more creative ways, more ingenious ways, more productive ways of collaborating, partnering, and working together to advance the cause of our national security, national consensus, and national development. And that's why we are glad that you chose this topic at this very critical time of our national history: media in times of crisis, resolving conflict, achieving consensus. I want to appeal to you in that spirit to continue to help us in not just reporting the crisis, but also going on to diagnose the crisis. Not just diagnosing the crisis, but going on to make critical suggestions on how the crisis can be dealt with. And even when a crisis or a situation or a conflict probably managed to slip through your radar or our radar, do us the favor of also carrying detailed postmortem of those conflicts so that we can learn our lessons and move forward. Anambra elections is around the corner. We will be appealing to the distinguished members of the Guild to do whatever it is that is within their powers to ensure that we use the media to help to tame some of the emerging crises, find consensus, tackle the issue of hate speeches, tackle the issue of unfair media coverage to some of the contestants, and support the police and INEC in delivering a free, fair, and credible elections. The IG has equally asked me to tell this audience that we acknowledge the security challenges that the country is currently undergoing. And there is no set of people that have greater incentive to fight insecurity than those of us who are putting on this uniform. The reason is because when any country in the world is challenged on the security fronts, the biggest victims are members of the law enforcement themselves. We work longer hours. Our occupational risk and hazard are tripled, if not quadrupled. We suffer more casualties. We lose limbs. We lose our limbs. We lose our lives. We are disconnected from our homes, our family, and our loved ones. So we have greater incentive to do everything within our power, administratively, operationally, investigatively, to ensure that we tame the national security challenge we're going through. We are ramping up our collaborative efforts with our international partners. The IG has signed Memorandum of Understanding with AFRIPO, the African Union Mechanism for Police Cooperation. We are working very closely with the West African Police Chiefs Committee, WAPCO. We are deepening our synergy with Interpol, and we're also deepening our synergy locally with the military and intelligence community. I want to assure you there is a challenging moment, but it is not an insurmountable situation. And when you live here, live with that air of optimism that you have men and women who are devoted, who are committed, and who are putting down their lives that you will stay alive. And if we work together, and get your support, we turn around the situation for good. Thank you, and God bless you.